I didn't disappear, you know.
We'll go ahead and get started. Before I start, I want to just recognize some special guests. Of course, I want to recognize Odessa's first mayor candidate, my dad, Arturo Leal, and I'm glad he was able to come. After the meeting is over and we're kind of socializing, he could give you some background on where Odessa really was right around in the 70s, like 78 and so on. Next special guest, Javier Joven, our second mayor candidate that Odessa had, and he can kind of give you an idea from what the political environment was at that time. I also want to recognize Abel Quintela. Abel Quintela is past president of the United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. So I appreciate you being here and showing your support as well. So the fact that all of you are here is, of course, that you care about Odessa's future. And like me, I also care about Odessa's future and where we're going, and want to make sure that we are active and we are engaged in our future. And having said that, I want to just kind of talk a little bit about the organization. A lot of people have a lot of questions. They really just don't know what we're about. They go to the website. They may get some information, but they don't really understand what's actually on the website. So I'm going to try to kind of, in a nutshell, kind of bring it all together in a brief presentation. Una Voz Unida is a community-based organization, CBO for short. CBOs should be viewed as part of the community. And because we're part of the community, just like individuals, CBOs and individuals should be actively engaged in the development of realization of social change in our community. We're grassroots. A lot of you have heard that word before. And we're citizens who care about Odessa. Now, the traditional role of a nonprofit or a 501c4 or even a 501c3 is they want to bring about some kind of change. They also want to develop solutions for a particular issue or provide a service of some kind to the community. But there's always something that's missing. And that something that's missing is the participation, the civic participation. So what is exactly civic participation? Civic participation are strategies that engage community members as agents of change, rather than just receivers of services. And by integrating civic participation, we can effectively community organize, we can develop leadership, we can mobilize, we can engage voters, and we can also advocate. So Una Voz Unida, what are some of the strategies that Una Voz Unida is going to implement? Our strategies will seek to strengthen the foundation for promoting participation at all levels. In doing so, we empower citizens to fully engage in American democracy. There's things out there now that says that that this group may be biased, but it's not. We are an American organizations and grassroots, and we are for American democracy. So some of the outcomes that we can expect, by engaging the citizens, we can expand the political capital of disenfranchised communities. And as all of y'all know, a large part of our community is disenfranchised. I mean, y'all have heard the numbers, y'all have heard on how the turnout is. 2008, the mayoral elections, total of 4,000 voters approximately, which is not good. 300 or 297 of them had Hispanic surnames. And we know this because we went through and we looked at all the surnames. So there's some disenfranchisement. What it is, that's our job to find out. Is it because they just don't know? They just don't care? It could be a lot of different things. So we're gonna try to figure those types of things out. So the civic participation, we are going to engage in 5 civic participation activities. One is organizing. The other is mobilizing, advocacy, citizen promotion, and voter engagement. Each of these items are crucial and vital to the mission of the organization, and that's the difference. That's what's missing out of a lot of organizations. People may say, okay, well, when you organize, what exactly is organizing? People organizing, they start thinking a lot of different things. People start going through their minds, well, oh, what is this, radical or something? This is different. It's different from what our regular train of thought. Community organizing seeks to build a power base of the community so they can affect and change public policies and social and economic inequality. That's what community organizing is. Community organizing is also an intense process of developing constituency capacity to engage. So capacity building, it's focused on developing and developing skills to navigate the current power structures, such in the city and the county. A lot of people just don't understand how the city government works or county government works. So those are one of those, that's capacity building that we'll be engaged in. Providing education on specific issues that are of concern to the community. A lot of people don't realize how issues affect them. It'll be our job to get that information out and say, this is how this affects you, and this is why it should be important to you, and this is why you should be involved. And of course, developing leadership. Some people are just, they say, you know, I'm not qualified, I'm not good at public speaking, you know, I just don't want to, you know, that's just not my thing. So we want to develop leaders. We want to develop leaders for that. So by community organizing, we can help the CBO. We can help develop a cadre of leaders that link other strategies that the organization will implement. Mobilizing. This is the big bad word. People hear mobilizing. What's going on? You think of mobilizing, you think someone's getting ready for battle. You know, you hear the word mobilizing. That was one of the questions that the Odessa American asked me. What do you mean by mobilizing? What does that mean? It's not a bad word, and it's not radical. Mobilizing is not radical. Mobilizing is the process of moving a group of people from a state of inaction toward effective action on issues of real concern to them. One thing to remember about mobilizing is that the efforts are action-oriented, like call-ins, and event-based, like rallies and protests. And they're convened in order to produce a specific outcome, such as elections, policy changes, etc. And I have to stress this, because this is a very key thing about mobilizing, and what's very important is we must always consider our audience and how everyone involved, and how we keep everyone involved after mobilizing. Because nothing is worse than having a large event and taking intake of these persons and participants and not keeping them engaged. And then just go on, and then there's not some sort of follow-up with that. So that's very important, and that's something that we're going to make sure that after we do have any type of event, that we're going to engage our participants. So let's talk about advocacy a little bit, because some people really don't know about advocacy either. Advocacy represents strategies and actions and solutions to influence decision-making to create positive change. While advocacy has two levels, we only focus on large-scale advocacy efforts by acting on behalf of persons for a particular change. We wouldn't, even though we might speak and say, you know, we're for this let's say an individual was unjustly treated for some reason. Even though that's not our focus of this, you know, on that, we may take a position, but we really want to focus on the larger picture of advocacy, such as organizations that may be some inequality of organizations going on that we might take a stand on. So to effectively advocate, we must ensure that we educate on the power structures, the public policy, prioritizing which issues match the interests of the organization. Because those interests we certainly don't want to, we want to make sure it's in line with what we're trying to do. Citizenship.